Vanessa, today you're actually going to answer a few questions from me to you. Can you please tell us who you are and what you actually do?
My name is Vanessa McLean. I am the confidence speaker coach. And one of the things I do is I help you to discover what your passion is and live your life's full potential. I am the author of Fight for Your Dreams, The Power of Never Giving Up.
Who actually inspired you to get into personal development?
One of the key reasons for me doing what I do right now is the influence I've had from my parents. My mother in particular, because she was always a woman of passion and she was always out there helping people. And I watched her life and I said, when I get older, I'd like to be like my mother, because when she speaks to people, she touches their hearts. And I wanted to be someone who had that same influence on the world.
Who actually inspired you to become a professional speaker?
Mr. Les Brown has been the key person who's actually inspired me to do what I'm doing today. I remember in 2007 going on a cruise in the Caribbean, and Les was holding a seminar on that cruise. And we were the only group on there for personal development. And I remember sitting in the front row of this particular seminar, and Les was doing his keynote speech. You've got to be hungry. And as he progressed in this presentation, he looked at me and said, I see greatness in you. I want to mentor you. And I remember those words as the tears rolled down my cheeks. What do you see in me? Because I didn't see what he saw. One of the things he always says, you can never see the picture when you're in the frame. And I didn't see myself as having the thing he calls greatness.
That's very inspirational, I must say. What actually were you doing before you became an entrepreneur?
Well, most of my life was spent working in the IT industries. For many years, I did that, and prior to that, I was working in the banking sector. And it was really quite funny because of the many years that I spent in the IT sector, I was the only female in my department working with all these fellas. And there was this sense of intimidation, and if you're a woman or if you're someone who lacks that self-belief, and I think you understand where I was coming from, working with all these young men who thought they knew what they were doing. In fact, what do? They blag it, as we like to call it today. That I had to soon learn how to become the most effective in what I was doing, and to get to become that way, I had to look at what they were doing. One of the key things that they were doing was, outside of the working environment, they were playing golf. And I wanted to be able to communicate and work in the way they were doing, getting the same sort of results as they were getting. So in order for me to do that, I had to join them. And that's what happens in life sometimes. For you to become the person that you've never been, you've got to do something that you've never done.
So is that the advice that you would actually give to somebody who wants to start their own business? Some people are stuck. They want to start somewhere and they don't know how. What advice can you give to people that are actually in that boat at the moment?
I think it's knowing who you are and what you have. Where are you stuck? What are you stuck at? And the other thing is, what is it you want? We can be like that lost ship at sea with no direction, and that's what I do with my coaching. I help you find your direction. If you're stuck, well, here's something that I can help you do. I have a coaching program. It's called It's in Your Story. It helps you find your purpose, find your passion, and more than anything else, discover your why. Nietzsche said, once you know the reason for your why, you'll endure any how. Stuck in life, it's not a great place to be, but it means, one of the big things that I had discovered when I was stuck because I was holding on to a lot of excess baggage which I no longer needed. And until you let go, until you free yourself to be yourself, you'll continue to sink in that sand.
It's interesting. Your branding, it's in your story. What made you come up with that?
Stories are such powerful, when I say they're powerful tools, they change your life. I say everybody has a story, and your story as T.D. Jakes says, to the world you might just be one person, but to one person you might just be the world. Yeah. Your story brings healing, it brings restoration, it brings direction. Sometimes you just turn up at the right moment in time to heal someone's wounds. I mean, how many times have you spoken to someone and they said, I'm so glad you showed up today. I'm so glad that you shared that part of your life with me. Because now I can go back to my wife and we can build on our relationships. And I believe that everybody's story is there to heal somebody else's life or another part of their life.
Yeah, so it's quite powerful. I bet you actually hear lots of different stories, people from different avenues of life, I believe. Would you say?
All different stories. I hear stories of hope. I hear stories of adversity. We're in a time where stories. I'm so touched. I'm just thinking about a story this week, and I spoke to a friend. She was actually leaving the US. She's gone on holiday. And you know what it's like? They ask you to check in before you go to the airport to save time. So she did that. The only thing was she didn't have a printer to print out her docket. So she went to the airport. When she got there, they had no recognition of her logging in and checking in. And she said, well, I haven't checked in. Here's my seat number. Anyway, that went on for a few moments, and to her good fortune, they upgraded her to business class because they couldn't find her.
Yeah, it's impressive.
But by the time she got to the check-in desk, where everyone was going, they were sitting at the gate, and she was like alarmed because the flight was due to leave in, say, 5 minutes' time, and they were still sitting, waiting to get on the gate. Yeah. Then the captain came out and made an announcement to everyone. One of the doors on the plane is malfunctioning, and the seats, I'll just say her seat was number 30. The seats number 30 to 34 will not be able to sit in those positions because we've got a malfunctioning door. And when she looked at her dockets, that was the seat she originally had, even though we couldn't find her. There's always an angel looking out for you. Just imagine if they hadn't discovered the problem and she had actually sat in that seat.
Yeah, it's impressive. It's very impressive. What advice would you, or what direction would you give to people about your workshop and for them to log onto your website, and what do you think they would actually gain out of it?
First of all, there's this thing called clarity. I speak to a lot of women right now who are lost. They don't know what to do. They've raised their children. This is one of the main things I'm getting right now. I've raised my family. I've given it all to them. I've lost my identity. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. And I know that we all have a story, and the fact that you've raised children, the fact that you've been a mother, the fact that you've contributed to life, you can now use your story in my workshop to help restore another person's life, to help give someone hope, to transform someone's life.
So where would you, going on from that, where would you say that people can actually find you on the internet, or what is your website address, and if they want to actually join into your workshops or meet you and what have you, contact you, how would you say they can actually do that?
Go to my website, VanessaMcLean.com, and you can find everything you need to know about It's in Your Story, the workshops I deliver, and your life transformation.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, for your time. This is Rita from workwithrita.Kotecha.com. Thank you for being with us today, and I hope that we will actually be speaking to you again, and you'll be joining us again in the future.